fruition. It's an anthology of black music, and it's called The Long Road to Freedom.
Also, we're going to talk about Howard Hughes, the reclusive billionaire, died alone except for the people he paid to be with him. There have been a lot of books written about him, but now author Richard Hack has written what he calls the definitive biography of Howard Hughes. We'll talk to Mr. Hack about that in just a few minutes.
He's such an interesting figure, so that must be a fascinating book.
Absolutely.
Anyway, lots to get to, but before we do, we've got another check of the weather from Mr. Roker. Al, it is such a pretty morning, isn't it?
It's a perfect fall morning, although it's not fall yet, so it's still a perfect summer morning. And good advice, hug a nurse today. Where are you from?
Youngstown, Ohio.
Youngstown. What are you doing here?
Elizabeth.
Just hanging out?
Just on vacation.
Who are you here with?
My son and my husband.
All right. Well, you're sandwiched. It's a mom-nurse sandwich. We like that. And I got a buddy over here who's going, Al, show me some love. I love the hair. I love the hair.
How you doing?
I'm showing you some love. What are you doing?
Right. We're here with Urban Aid. We're doing AIDS awareness within the teen community, within the minority communities, the Latin American, the black communities. There's been an increase in AIDS. We're trying to aware the teens of what's going on.
Good.
Life be.
All right. Good advice. Thank you very much. I like this, though. That's happening. I want to do that. You know?
No problem.
Let's take a look. Show you what's going on. Oh, sorry. There's a. Yeah, hold on. Let me just see here. See, that's what it would look like. Much better. Let's check your weather. See what's going on. For today, we've got a lot of cool weather in the northern states. We've got some hot weather continuing in the southwest and 80s as you get into the southeast with a lot of rain, up to 7 inches of rain in parts of Florida. Partly sunny in the Pacific Northwest. Seattle today, sunshine and 75. Sunny in the northeast and low humidity. Speaking of hair, what's the deal here?
Charles Worthington's big hair, girl.
Well, there you go. You certainly are. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Well, we've had a fresh, cool, dry air mass move in overnight. Good morning. I'm meteorologist Tom Kieran. We're up to 67 degrees here in Northwest and comfortably dry with a nice breeze coming in about 5 to 10 this morning. It may get a little gusty this afternoon, maybe 10 to 20 miles an hour with bright sunshine, highs reaching the low 80s. And we've got a cool evening on tap tonight. Ought to be widespread 50s for lows. And during the day tomorrow, the upper 70s for highs. Then Thursday, partly sunny. Could have a passing shower Thursday evening. Otherwise, dry weather all the way into the weekend.
Let's head down to Washington. Hey, Weller, look who's here. Mr. Peanut.
I love Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut is here.
Is he salt-free and dry roasted?
No, well, he hasn't come out of his shell yet. He just.
Hey, have you ever done anything for Habitat for Humanity?
Yes.
Did you ever take a hammer and saw or nail?
You bet. Yes, we did. We did. In fact, the Today Show did it a couple of months ago up in Harlem.
I thought you'd get a big kick out of this. Jimmy Carter, one of the nicest people in the whole wide world. A beautiful man, done so many great things. Here's his, where was it? Did you see his picture? Was it up there? And there you go, and some of his friends. And they're having their 25th anniversary. Can you believe that? Indianapolis, Indiana, this coming Saturday, the 15th. 25 years of helping humanity by building them a home. Can't beat that. And the people that actually live in the house help to build it, too. Check it out. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to Habitat, one of the great organizations. On the back of our Smucker's jar, Alex LeBlanc of Waltham, Mass. Independent fellow, loves being around people. Fondest memory is going to the airport with his friends in the 20s and flying with student pilots in open cockpit planes. How about that? Handsome dude. Molly Holtzberg of Coconut Creek, Florida is 100 years old, loves to read, loves theater, discussing politics, and loves a good party and being with people. A party animal, Molly, you old fox. Sidney Johnson of Glenmara, Louisiana is 101, wonderful homemaker, enjoyed taking care of her family, married a farmer, and loved it. Eat good down on the farm. Lona Snodgrass, Charleston, West Virginia, 104, still lives in her own house, likes to watch television, loves stories about the good old days. She is pretty, very pretty lady. Edith Chittick of Westlake, Ohio, attributes her longevity to strong faith, a strong spirit, always puts family first and loves golf, and she is a Greg Norman fan extraordinaire. Pretty hair. Finally, Charles Hill, Los Angeles, California. Look at that. He is handsome. He could be an actor. Good-looking, smart, good-looking man. Attributes his longevity and good health to living a stress-free life. Loves going to the beach and watching his horses win at the track. How about that? Man knows his business. Anyway, happy birthday to all. Now back to Matt in little old New York.
All right, Willard, thank you very much. Coming up, Katie talks to Harry Belafonte. But first, this is Today on NBC.
I'm Barbara Harrison. My Wednesday's Child reports have helped hundreds of local children find loving adoptive homes. And now you can help too with just a few simple steps. Join the Freddie Mac Foundation and NBC4 for the 12th annual Wednesday's Child 5K race for adoption. It's on Sunday, September 16th. Come run or walk to show your support for the thousands of local foster children still waiting to be adopted. Registration is free and there are great prizes. Log on to NBC4.com for more information. And thank you.
Oh, the wonderful thing about children is it never occurs to them that their dreams might not come true. My dream has come true. With hard work and some good financial advice, I just opened my 3rd child care center. We take care of hundreds of children every day. Our children are our future. They just don't know it yet.
Smart Financial Services from Mutual of Omaha, helping plan successful futures for over 90 years.
Why do the 4 giant bell phone monopolies want toes and dingles so badly? How about this? Section 4A states, neither the FCC nor any state shall have authority to regulate the rates, charges, terms, or conditions for any high-speed data service. Toes and Dingle will turn the 4 bell giants loose on America and then prohibit the FCC and all 50 states from protecting us. So, this is why our parents told us to read the fine print.
Just listen to my voice.
On September 28th,
look in my eyes.
On this quiet street, a stranger will arrive and pass his power to another. From the author of The Green Mile,
find the Queen of Hearts,
and the director of Shine,
tell me what you see.
This one here.
Anthony Hopkins.
Hearts in Atlantis, rated PG-13. Sneak preview September 15th, starts September 28th.
Nearly 50 years ago, entertainer Harry Belafonte embarked on an extraordinary project. He set out to research and record the music of black Americans from the period of their earliest arrival in the New World in the 17th century up through the spirituals, blues, and folk music of the early 20th century. The work was completed 30 years ago, but it's only now that music lovers can enjoy this collection of songs. It's called The Long Road to Freedom, an anthology of black music. Belafonte was principal producer and one of many artists featured on this 80 song box set.
Well, it's free grace, my loving sister, free grace, I'm newborn again. All right now, gather round the rails, boys. Turn that rail to your stomach, head high, throw it away. Whoa, white man, he called me lazy, but like me, he soon go crazy. White man, get me all the time.
Harry Belafonte, it's a pleasure to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, to say that this has been a project that's been long in the making is a bit of an understatement. You started working on this back in 1954. Yeah. Tell me how it came about.
Well, America was just the threshold of a new period in its evolution. Brown versus the Board of Education had just come through the Supreme Court. There was an awakening to the whole issue of race on a level that America was just about to embark on that was very new. And I often felt that if people really understood more about one another, life could perhaps be dealt with in a more comfortable and meaningful way. And the best way to know one is through one's culture. And our music held so much of our history. And since I was an artist, since I had the platform of music, why not dig into our history through our musical expression and let people hear the songs that spoke to our trials and tribulations, our journey from the shores of Africa to the times of slavery, to the period of the Civil War, to the antebellum period, and the blues and the city and the rural. And it was just a huge canvas of material that I thought America would delight in.
Oh, and such an incredibly rich history. And I understand that a lot of these songs were actually in an RCA vault for some 30 years. Why?
Well, when I originally started the project, RCA and Reader's Digest were the two companies behind promoting it. And both of them at the end of the recording dissolved their relationship. So we were left there with no home. And I waited, I thought it would take about maybe 2 or 3 years to find another place to lay it off. But it took 30 years, and now BMG
found the archives, found the material in their archives, because they bought RCA. And in buying RCA, they inherited this volume of work. So they called me and asked me to come on board and have it released.
And I know you're thrilled. We have another example of some of the stuff in the some of the music in the anthology. Let's take another listen.
You didn't bring old blues. Oh, baby.
I know that you have said that much of the music we listen to today echoes some of the music we heard, say, 100 years ago or more.
What's astounding is that almost all of American culture, regardless of race, has most of its resonance deeply rooted in African music. And we take an awful lot for granted, whether you're in rock, or you're in rap, or you're in the Broadway theater, or almost any avenue of musical expression in America, you'll find resonance of Africa throughout the American culture.
And we were talking before we went on about what a fabulous teaching tool this could be for kids all across the country to learn so much about history and about ourselves through the music that we've enjoyed for hundreds of years.
And remarkable men and women participated in this. Leonard DePaul, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, Bessie Jones, great artist by the name of Charles White, who did the artwork, and the text written by Marie Evans, a professor from University of Indiana. I think the work is not only scholarly, but there's a humanity to this that I think people really enjoy.
You must be very proud of it. Before we go, Harry, I want to ask you quickly about the World Conference Against Racism that was held last week in South Africa. You attended on behalf of UNICEF. You criticized the United States for pulling out when both the U.S. and Israel withdrew over condemnations of Israel. Disappointed with the United States about that, aren't you?
Yes, because I believe that the world is really in need of compassion. And the world is really in need of voices that will come to the table with reason and lead people to a new level of thinking. And the United States, which dominates so much of the world order, I believe has a responsibility to lead the world to a new level of thought, or at least open up debate so that new information can come into the discourse, so we may be able to shape policies that are a little bit richer than the policies we've been applying all along. That doesn't seem to be taking us out of the abyss of violence, killing, anger, rage, and I think we should be less arrogant about how we use our resources.
Obviously, delegates left with sort of instructions on how to improve the situation in their respective countries. But do you think that this conference will really have an impact on the average person in the world in terms of racism, intolerance, etc.?
Yes, I do. I believe it'll be a while before a lot of the resonance from this gets into the mainstream experience. But it's a beginning, and remarkable men and women from all over the world of enormous intelligence sat at the table and debated issues that were most volatile. And I think conclusions were reached that will set a platform for future encounter.
Well, let's hope so. Harry Belafonte, as I said, it's a thrill to be with you. Thanks so much for coming in, and best of luck with your project. The anthology, once again, is called The Long Road to Freedom.
Thank you, Katie.
Looks wonderful. Up next, a new look at billionaire Howard Hughes. But first, this is Today on NBC.
Top Drawer, the interior design store, is having one of their famous, wild, irresistible clearance events. Absolutely everything in our enormous showroom has been reduced. Select from our multi-million-dollar stock of unique home furnishings from around the world. Almost everything is available for immediate delivery. Don't delay. Hurry into Top Drawer, your interior design store, where the smart shoppers buy.
Being in business, I know you've got to have a plan to succeed. That's why, as a candidate for governor, I have offered a detailed action plan for Virginia's future to improve education and transportation, create jobs, preserve open space, and protect our environment. We can do it with more effective management and real fiscal responsibility. To find out more, call or visit our website, because you deserve more than political promises. You deserve a plan and results. And that's what my campaign for governor is all about.
The Civic from Honda.
Hey guys, can you help us? We need directions.
It comes with an extraordinarily well-insulated cabin.
Why is it so hard to meet chicks anyway?
The window!
I do not know.
Amazing, but true.
While supplies last, get special APR financing as low as 3.9% for 36 months on 2001 Civics.
I'm Dr. Mark Groban, Chairman of the Mamsie Health Plan's MDIPA and Optimum Choice. We've partnered with the American Heart Association to bring you important heart health information.
One of the things I learned to do was to take my medication exactly as my doctor instructed me to. If you don't, your condition could worsen, requiring further medical treatment and costing you more money.
To start your way to a heart-healthy life, join us for the American Heart Walk Saturday, October 20th. For more information, call this number.
Howard Hughes lived the American dream. He was wealthy beyond belief, dated beautiful movie stars, and made record-breaking flights. But the man who could have it all for years just wanted to be left alone. Because of that, much of his life has remained a mystery until now. Author Richard Hack uncovers America's first billionaire in his new book, simply called Hughes. Richard Hack, good morning. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
You say, I'm fine, thank you. You say this is a different perspective on Howard Hughes because the other books have been written based on stories told by people who knew him. You think this is his point of view. How could that be?
Well, I made the effort to try to get inside his mind. This is you know, he was America's first billionaire, and he was a famous film producer after all. He did, you'll recall, The Outlaw with Jane Russell and the Press, and he won the first Oscar award for the best comedy film. He also flew around the world setting records. He also bought half of Las Vegas, and he also was America's #1 defense contractor, and he dated all those beautiful women that you know, Katharine Hepburn,
right.
Betty Davis, Lana Turner. But the fact was, this is a man that absolutely was elusive. To everyone who knew him, they knew him differently. So you interview someone, and they will give you a different story each time.
He demanded his privacy. He was obsessive about it, and yet he had the people who work for him keep detailed records of every move he made, from the time he ate to the time he went to the bathroom. Why?
This is the story. He did not have that done. They did it so they could keep track and refer to it, because he was so compulsively controlling that when he would talk to them, they'd have to know exactly what he was talking about. He had an incredible memory.
Did he know they were keeping these records?
No. He did not know they had the records, and when he found out about it, he wanted them all destroyed as they were going. He thought they were destroyed. The fact that they weren't destroyed would have killed him if he hadn't already been dead.
And it's some of those documents that were kept about him that you scoured to write this book.
Over 110,000 pages I rifled through.
You say he was known as a great ladies' man. However, you say perhaps that was a bit of a myth, that he was not all that great a lover. He dated Katharine Hepburn.
Yes, he certainly did. She moved in with him at one point, brought the maid, the butler, and the 3 dogs.
Why did she move out? What happened between the two of them?
Well, she found out that he was dating Betty Davis. That sort of puts a crimp on things, you know, when you think you're the only one. He proposed to all these ladies, mind you.
And then they'd all find out that he had somebody else on the side.
When Ginger Rogers found out, she threw a bag full of jewelry at him, only to learn the next day that he also repossessed her station wagon that he had given her.
We have a photo that I think was the last picture ever taken of Howard Hughes, and the weird thing is it was taken 25 years before he died.
That's right.
Why did he retreat so thoroughly from the public?
Well, for one thing, he didn't have to deal with them. He had so much money that he could lay naked in a bed, blacked out room, talking on the telephone, and do all his business. Everybody else was out there doing it. And on top of that, he was a sociopath. He didn't like people. He didn't like, even his aides, who were the only people he saw, he didn't allow to talk to him.
You talk about the cleanliness issue, the fear of germs.
Yes.
Perhaps a result of the way his mother raised him.
Definitely. She would wash him down with lye soap every morning. She would check his teeth like a horse. She looked in the toilet at his feces to see if there was tapeworms. But mind you, it was a time that there were malaria, typhoid, there were epidemics everywhere, so she was concerned.
Here are the rules for when someone would come into the room where he was staying. This is part of a memo. It says, before opening the door to the room, the man is to stand with a folded newspaper in his right hand, rapidly wave it for at least a minute to eliminate the possibility that flies will enter the room. Using 8 Kleenexes placed in the left hand, the man who's rapidly waving the newspaper will knock on the door. When HRH responds, the man will open the door using the hand with the Kleenex. I mean...
Right, as opposed to the dirty hand. I mean, hello, Howard, you know. The man was a bit compulsive, let's face it, but on the other hand, he was absolutely the most amazing man that America has ever created, ever.
Okay, I have got to interrupt you right now.
Sorry.
Richard Hack, thank you very much. We appreciate the book is called Hughes. We want to go live right now and show you a picture of the World Trade Center where I understand... Do we have it? No, we do not. We have a breaking story, though. We're going to come back with that in just a moment. First, this is Today on NBC.
Why drive all over town to compare cars? Make one stop at CarMax and test drive an Accord, Taurus, and Camry.
We have nearly every make and model, 10 times more cars than the average dealer. So you get the car you want. CarMax, the way car buying should be.
Why do warehouse clubs and superstores offer the lowest prices? Because they sell in volume. CarMax, the auto superstore, has up to 10 times more cars than the average dealer, so we can afford to offer below Blue Book prices. CarMax, the way car buying should be.
Welcome to Wardrobe 911. These 3 friends came to us with a problem. How do you get that designer look without breaking the bank? Wow, great designer. Fortunately, it's Designer Week at Ross. We found some of the top labels at fabulous prices.
At Designer Week, you'll find the latest in career and casual clothing at unbelievable savings.
That looks so expensive. Oh, thank you. Thank Designer Week at Ross. And you can do it too.
Designer Week at Ross. Don't miss it.
What makes you smile?
Every day at McDonald's, we're serving up a variety of great tastes at breakfast. Whether you like scrambled eggs with pancakes, egg McMuffins, sausage biscuits with egg, or our delicious bagel sandwiches, we've got something hot, fresh, and made to order just for you. And remember, no breakfast is complete without coffee and the cool, fresh squeezed taste of Minute Maid orange juice. Start off your day, every day, with breakfast variety at McDonald's.
As Matt just mentioned, we have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments ago, apparently. We have very little information available at this point in time, but on the phone we do have Jennifer Oberstein, who apparently witnessed this event. Jennifer, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, can you please tell me what you saw and give me any information about what's going on there?
Yes, I have to tell you, it's quite terrifying. I'm in shock right now. I came out of the subway at Bowling Green. I was heading to work in Battery Park at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and I come out, and I heard a boom, looked up, and there was a big ball of fire. I'm now looking north at the World Trade Center, and it is the left twin tower if I'm looking north. I'm in Battery Park right now, and you can hear the fire engines and the emergency crews behind me, and it is unbelievable. When the fire first burst, it was a... Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
In air like I've never seen before, and as you know, I used to work in news. I've never seen any fire like this in the air, and the pieces of the building were flying down. It looks like it's like the top, I can't even tell you, maybe 20 floors. Intense smoke. It's horrible. I can't even describe it to you.
Do you have any idea what kind of plane it was?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any idea what hit the World Trade Center?
What it was?
Yeah, what kind of plane? We're getting reports that an airplane hit the building.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Honestly, I was walking up, and it looked up and saw a big boom and fire. You know, I got to tell you, we were all saying around here that it was very interesting that it would be a bomb and it would be so high up. So perhaps it was a plane. We have no talk of a plane. However, I have to tell you, there are still things flying in the air. I mean, it's mind-boggling, and it's horrifying.
Jennifer, it's Matt Lauer. I'd like to ask you, while you were close to the building, or have you, since the explosion, seen anyone who's been injured being taken out of the building? Are there ambulances dealing with people on the sidewalk around the building?
No, I have not. I I have not gotten that close. I have to tell you that my father works in the World Financial Center, and I first called over there to see, because it's next door, to see, you know, if he was okay. I couldn't get through, and I'm far away right now. I thought it might be a little dangerous to get too close. I saw lots of debris coming down, and right now I'm in Battery Park. I don't know, you know, it's probably a 5-minute walk from here to the World Trade Center. But the smoke is incredible. I mean, I can't see the top of the tower. It's starting to cover the top of the second tower.
In fact, we're looking at pictures right now, Jennifer, with a huge gaping hole on the side of the building and billowing smoke. So
I'm right now, you see, yeah, I see major fire. I definitely see fire.
And Jennifer, you said you're looking north at the building, so in other words, you're south of the building, is that right?
Correct.
Because we're looking at a picture that is looking at the north side of the building.
I'm on the exact opposite side.
And it appears that is where the largest hole is. And again, as you mentioned correctly, toward the top of the building, but on the north side, and then on the, what I think is the west side of the building, we can also see some holes there that could have been from damage once the impact occurred. Again, we've been told that this is a plane. We don't have confirmation on that, but there is an enormous hole in the north side of that building.
Jennifer, can you tell us a little bit more about what you heard when you heard this explosion? Describe it for us.
Absolutely. When I walked out of the subway, I looked at the Twin Towers because, I mean, I just always look up there. And right when I looked up, there was a boom. It wasn't that loud. Like, it wasn't huge. However, what was unbelievable was the amount of fire. It was a big ball of fire that just went up. And I looked around at people. We were all horrified. I'm stuttering because I'm in such shock. I've never seen anything like it. It's just horrible.
And of course, this is real cause for concern because the World Trade Center is one of the busiest office buildings here in New York with hundreds, perhaps thousands of workers
New York State Governor has his office, New York City office there.
Several thousand and of course, given the time that this has happened, it's only probably appropriate to surmise that people might have been in the building.
And you know, we've seen stories in the past where planes have hit buildings, small planes, and it would be hard to imagine that a small plane could create that kind of hole in a building like the World Trade Center and create the damage on the other side of the building from the sheer impact. Small planes tend to crumple and then fall down the building. Again, we haven't talked to anyone who's close to the base of the building, so we don't know what kind of debris or wreckage. Yes, go ahead, Jennifer.
I'm sorry. I'm just talking to a police officer right here, and he says, yes, he heard it was a plane.
Does he have any information about what kind of plane it was, or can he tell us any more details?
May I? I'm going to put you on hold for one moment, okay?
Just to recap, if you're just joining us, you're looking at dramatic pictures of New York's World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan, where a short time ago we are told that a plane crashed into the upper floors of the westernmost tower. You can see a gaping hole. That is on the north side of the building, and you can see residual damage on the west side of that building, and obviously fires are burning right now in the World Trade Center.
Tall buildings have had a real problem here in New York. There was, back in the 40s, a plane hit the Empire State Building. In the 60s, a helicopter crashed on the top of what was the Pan Am building, now the MetLife building. So
right now we're getting information, Al, that it was a small commuter plane, and of course we'll let people know as soon as we have more information as to what actually caused this, and of course on everybody's mind who might have been hurt as a result of this terrible, terrible incident. We're going to be talking to more eyewitnesses coming up in just a few minutes.
We're back at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on this Tuesday morning, and we're back with dramatic pictures of an accident that has happened just a short time ago. You're looking at the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan, where just a few minutes ago we're told that a plane, some reports are that it was a small commuter plane, crashed into the upper floors of one of the Twin Towers. You can see fire and flames or smoke billowing from that tower. There is a gaping hole on the north side of the building. That's the side you're seeing to the left-hand side of your screen right now, and other damage to the west side of that building, which is to the right side of your screen. This, of course, happened just before the morning commute, before people were heading into their offices, and while I'm sure some people were already at work, immediately there's speculation or cause for concern. This is the World Trade Center that was the center of a terrorist bombing some years ago. So the questions have to be asked, was this purely an accident, or could this have been an intentional act? But either way, extensive damage has been done to this building.
It also looks like there's smoke coming out of the east side of the building. In that shot we just saw, looks like white smoke billowing out the side of the east side of the building.
Obviously, horrified commuters were absolutely devastated when they heard this explosion. We talked with somebody a moment ago about that, Jennifer Oberstein, and also another eyewitness, Elliot Walker, who is actually a producer here on the Today Show. Elliot, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Katie.
Hi Elliot, tell me where you are and what you saw.
Well, I live in this area. I've returned to my apartment, but I was walking down the sidewalk delivering my young daughter to school, and we heard a very loud sound, the kind of sound you hear when a plane is you know, going fast past you, followed by an enormous crash and an immediate explosion. I don't think we could feel shock waves, but we sort of felt like we did. And we were in a position where we could see the Trade Center almost immediately between the other buildings. And an enormous fireball that must have been 300 feet across was visible immediately. A secondary explosion, I think, and then plumes of smoke. There must have been a 3-block cloud of white smoke. Now, from where I was on the street a moment ago, you can in fact see smoke leaving the building on 3 sides. It seems to be coming out on at least 4 or 5 floors. The air is filled with hundreds of thousands of pieces of paper that are just sort of floating like confetti. The area is swarmed with emergency vehicles and sirens. Obviously, we're very sensitive to this kind of thing in this neighborhood.
Elliot, have you, of course, because of the incident that occurred in the early 1990s, have you seen any evidence, Elliot, of people being taken out of the building? You say that emergency vehicles are there, understandably so, but of course the major concern is human loss. I mean, do you know if there were many people in the building?
Oh, another one just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building, and there's been another collision. Can you see it? I can see it on this shot.
Oh my.
Something else has
You know what? We just saw
like
a plane circling the building. We just saw a plane circling the building a second ago on the shot right before that.
I think there may have been another impact. Can you tell? I just heard another very loud bang, and a very large plane that might have been a DC-9 or a 747 just flew past my window, and I think it may have hit the Trade Center again.
To be honest, Elliot, I didn't get the impression that it was that big a plane.
It looks big from here.
I did see a plane go by a second ago, though, and it has now impacted the building. I'm trying to see if it's the different tower.
I think it may have been. I believe the first one was World Trade Center 1, and it looks, from what I'm seeing on the television, like it may have been the second building that was hit.
This is a piece of tape, and we may actually see another plane enter the picture here in a second.
I wonder if there are air traffic control problems.
Let's go back to Jennifer Oberstein, who was talking to a second ago. Jennifer, did you see this happen?
Hello?
Did you just see this happen, Jennifer?
Matt, I've never seen any. It looks like a movie. I saw a large plane, like a jet, going immediately headed directly into the World Trade Center. It just flew into it, into the other tower, coming from south to north. I watched the plane fly into the World Trade Center. It was a jet. It was a very large plane. It was going fast. It went past the Ritz-Carlton Hotel that's being built in Battery Park. It flew right past it, almost hit it, and then went in.
This is so shocking, of course, to everybody watching.
I've never seen anything like it. It literally flew itself into World Trade Center.
Obviously now we move from what appears to have, there it is right there.
Again, I'm looking from south to north, and it went into the one on the right.
That appeared to be at least a 727. We saw it a second ago. Here comes the videotape that we just showed you. You will see what appears to be a large plane. It could be a 727 right there, maybe even bigger, flying right into the side of the World Trade Center.
It was at least a 727. It was a jet. I couldn't believe my eyes watching it right above me.
And now you have to move from talk about a possible accident to talk about something deliberate that has happened here. We're going to immediately check with air traffic control in the area to find out if they had contact with either of these planes before the accident, but what we've just seen is about the most shocking videotape I've ever seen.
What are the odds of 2 separate planes hitting both towers?
Elliot, are you still there?
Hello?
Elliot?
Yes, I'm still here, Katie.
So, Elliot, what can you see right now from your perspective?
I don't face in that direction. I can't see anything personally.
It is completely impossible to understand why this is happening and to figure out what in the world is going on.
I think we have to be grateful
Ali
that the first
Eberhard
plane hit before 9 a.m., but it's now after 9 a.m., and I just wonder how many people were
A
in
lot of
those
those
offices.
buildings fill up.
Well, hopefully that they were evacuated following the first incident, and we can only hope that there was a very short period of time from when we first learned about this was probably about 8:50 Eastern Time. This second incident occurred about 9:05, and so obviously that would be a short amount of time to get people out of the building. Ali Eberhard is another witness who is on the ground. Ali, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Please tell me what you're seeing.
Well, I live in Lower Manhattan. I face the north tower, the north side where the first plane crashed into the building, and right now there's a lot of chaos on the ground, a lot of emergency vehicles. Everyone from the World Financial Center has exited and is walking north up to Battery Park North. There's just mass and mass of people walking north uptown of Manhattan. I happened to look on the first tower, and I actually saw people waving where the first plane crashed through, and then it was unbelievable seeing this second jet come crashing into the second tower. What is going on?
And unfortunately, here in New York, many of our stations cannot see this, local stations, because the antennas are on the World Trade Center. They're backup towers on the Empire State Building, but television communication in New York City is probably pretty much knocked off the air.
I just want to say something. We're looking at a picture here where it appears, because of the angle, I think, that the towers are leaning, and I don't think that that is actually the case, because after the first impact, it looked as if it was the right-hand tower was leaning, and now somebody is saying, we're getting a witness saying they are leaning actually right now, which will give you an idea of the type of impact we're talking about.
And that perhaps they're buckling under the force of the collision or the hole that's resulted from these two planes.
We're going to go to George Shea right now, who has also witnessed both or one of these collisions. George, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
What did you see, George?
Yeah, well, I was in a car driving up, just gotten out of the Battery Tunnel and driving north on West Street when an enormous explosion happened. And it was larger than a construction explosion. I looked out the window, and what appeared to be an enormous tire smashed into the ground, and I believe it hit the car to the right of me. And it was just so scary, and there was also a ton of debris fall. And I jumped out of the car and I ran south away from the building because I thought there would be further explosions.
And have you seen anyone injured on the ground, George?
A man next to me was actually hit by a piece of debris in his arm, and they said that someone had been badly hurt in a car ahead of me. I'm not certain if it was the car next to me, and I can't verify that. All I can say is that a lot of debris was falling. It was very confusing because everybody, I think, immediately assumed that a bomb had exploded, and that sort of had people thinking that further bombs may explode. So there was sort of a rush away.
Did you see, George, the second plane, that jet, fly into the other twin tower?
I heard two explosions, however. There was a first explosion that was louder, and then a second explosion, and but I could not see that, and I looked up, and when I looked up, I saw debris falling, and the tire, as I said, a very large tire.
Well, of course, this is, as we've said, completely shocking video and a shocking turn of events, and we've been talking here that the first incident, one might surmise that it was some kind of accident, and then to have a second, what appeared to be 727 jet, of course, the question of terrorist activity has to surface, and the question of whether this was an intentional terrorist act of some kind.
You know, keep in mind that we're in an area here where there are three major airports. You have Newark Airport, Kennedy Airport, and LaGuardia Airport, all within several miles of the World Trade Center. You know, it's very unusual for a plane to get into this area without being completely tracked or identified by air traffic control. So you would have to imagine that, A, if this plane were headed right for the World Trade Center, there must have been someone trying to talk or communicate with that pilot, and for it to fly right into the side of the building.
Well, the smaller plane you can understand almost, but a jumbo jet, a large jet, completely
Let's
unbelievable.
re-rack that video, if we could, down in the control room where we actually saw the jet flying into the building,
And
which
I was mistaken.
unbelievable.
When Elliot Walker said it was a big plane, I was looking in the distance and saw a small plane, which might have been a helicopter, actually. To see this plane come into the picture,
there it is.
That is a big plane. And, I mean, it's hard to imagine. It's a 737, we're now being told, and flying directly into the midsection of the, what would be the eastern tower of the World Trade Center.
I'm wondering if Jennifer Oberstein is still on the phone. Do we still have Jennifer on the phone? She's actually not on the phone because she was near a police officer. At least we could have perhaps gotten more information from that officer. Needless to say, it's pandemonium, I am sure, down there, and we gathered that from even the eyewitnesses with whom we spoke, and how terrifying this was for them to see. And you can only imagine, as you get closer to the Twin Towers, a New York landmark, what the scene must be like there.
You know, you talked about the buildings looking like they're buckled. They're designed to have a 2-degree sway in either direction because of the height of the building and to be able to deal with wind and stress, but something like that is more than it's probably designed for.
We want to go now out to Jane Daranowski, who I understand is a television producer here in New York. Jane, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm down here near the World Trade Center. I was walking down 6th Avenue this morning at 8:42 a.m. A group of us saw a plane veer through the buildings. Then we saw a huge cloud of smoke, and then fire came out of one of the towers. Here, it's near the upper floor, as you can probably see with your chopper shots. And then about 10 minutes ago, a second explosion in the second tower. Lower down, that was not affected by the plane, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. But right now there's a huge gaping hole in one of the towers, and the other building is on fire. The scene down here